things, but things do bring comfort.
Thank you.
Like, we can't pretend otherwise. Things do bring comfort. The reason, just a second, Pastor Valo, the reason you're comfortably sitting at this event is because you're able to afford 100,000 for this ticket. You're able to drive here and be comfortable, and you're able to look after your wife and children because of the things you're able to obtain. That said,
and you know, falling in love with a man who has a Benz does not mean I don't have a value system. It just happens that that's the one I like. Yes. No, you're saying that my value system might be corrupted because I want to fall in love with a man who has a Benz.
It might just so happen that the person you're falling in love with drives a Benz. Okay, and for me that should not be the issue. I mean,
and it may also happen that you also don't like those people who drive bicycles. It's just not your thing.
Now, I would question. I mean, what's wrong with someone who drives a bicycle?
There is nothing wrong.
Wonderful.
But they may not be your kind of person.
Exactly. But I'm saying, if the value system, okay, maybe I should first stop and address something. But I forgot what I wanted to address. It will come back. Eh?
Okay. The next question is to Maria. Is it true that all rich people are evil? That's why there's that notion that people always cry in Benzes. Is it true that their character is already corrupted, or are there some good rich people?
I think that the reason they say people cry in Benzes, you can afford to cry in a Benz. Guys, be realistic. Who has time to cry? But when you're in the Benz seated behind, you can chill back and think about life and cry a bit. By the time you reach, you know, by the time you reach the book load, you've shed the tears and it's kawa. And you can cry.
Maria.
Why?
Lift up your hand like this. Say, Jesus, I'm into my...
I think that's a question of integrity. You know, they're trying to say that every rich person does not have integrity. And I think that two things are totally different. One is richness, one is integrity. You question my integrity on that account. There's a poor man who beats his wife, who is a thief on the village, steals people's chicken, and then he's sleeping around with other, you know. And the fact that he's poor does not mean that he's a person of integrity. But because there's one rich man who has two wives, so every rich man becomes bad. Or because there's a rich woman who went around and did some foolish thing, every rich woman becomes
so bad. People in the audience would like to know where those nice rich people found. Because it's like in Uganda, they are only the weird ones.
Sandra, when you find out where they are, tell me. But if I may just add something Maria said, I guess it also comes from the notion, more money, more problems. The logic being that the richer you become, or the more money you get, or the more financially secure you become, then obviously your problems are bigger. So then that's crying in a Benz.
So you're crying because of rich people problems, basically.
Right, like your problems are your iPhone 7 battery has blacked out. Those are your problems. Not the kids don't have school fees.
The next question is for Pastor. Do you think there's more emphasis on the prosperity gospel today? And what's your view?
It's not
the ploy that church leaders are using to amass wealth?
I think I take deference to the term prosperity gospel because the gospel in itself it results in their lives. So I kind of take deference to the usage of the. But that said, there are those who have been swallowed up by the form of this world. I prefer to say that they have plowed the depths of the mystery of iniquity. They can show the devil new tricks. That's a joke. So anyway,
clearly people didn't get it.
No, it's not a good day. We'll try again next time. Anyhow, so there are those who have been like crying in a Mercedes Benz is like their goal in life. That's a joke, eh? But that's their goal, to get the Mercedes-Benz because they associate wealth, success with driving the Mercedes or with this. And so they stoop low to amass wealth and you know, I'm preaching to the choir here because all of you know the tactics that have been used. But to say that is it a ploy that is used would be a sweeping statement. There are those certainly who are using it, and those that can be clearly identified, in my opinion. Why? Because you'll find that their heart is not for the people. They are very selfish. They are very, you know, when you see them, some of those that, you know, I think I was seeing an internet thing on some guy who thinks he's Jesus. He returned like he calls himself Antichrist. Some Spanish guy, and you know, CNN had had done a piece on him. You know, they were saying, this guy now prosperity tells people what, there's no hell, there's no Satan, the only hell you will have is here, and you know, he's amassing wealth from all these people. I think when you look at the guy, at the profile, at what he's sharing, it's not hard, you know, to see the quack that he is. Pardon my French, eh? As in, it's just fake. But you know, people have not identified with that which is genuine long enough to be able to easily identify that which is fake. So you'll find a lot of desperate people are running around, and they are just easy targets for these kinds of guys, because they come and say, husband with money, bring money, you will see. You know, and then we go into the whole thing. Oh, there's somebody. I'm seeing somebody. No, don't. There's somebody fighting you. Obviously, yeah. But there's somebody, and says, yeah, actually, what? Then he'll build a story based on what you're sharing with him. You know, I say, man, this guy is helping me actually, but you never realize that you are an easy target. And they prey on people like that. They see them desperate. You know, someone who wants a child, or someone who, you know, my husband, what? I want him to stay, what? He says, you know what? This problem requires money. As in, you need to give a seed. It is very tough. No, actually, for yours, I think yours would be like, they begin to, you know, give the equivalent value of, it's almost like witchcraft. Eh? And for me, it's not hard to identify people like that. But if you have been consumed by your need, sadly you are prey, you are a target for these guys who are smooth talkers and who just prey on people like that, who are consumed by their needs.
Thank you.
Again, I can't profess to have cracked that particular thing and have the solution, but I think there's a contribution from both the flock and also the pastors, because many times people run to these guys and say, I need a solution now, you know. And these people, you know, they're very desperate. Either they're looking to get married, they're looking to start a business, or, you know, to add on to their business. So they're very desperate. And many, and the pastors as well, you know, they probably started their churches not genuinely led by the Spirit, you know. So they find each other and they keep feeding this thing. And because there's so many desperate people in the world.
Biology. The next question is for Lenny. The author says we have an obligation to live beyond ourselves. Is this something you budget for when you're making your budget?
Now I have to be very careful how I answer this question. My wife is yes, Leola is right. My wife handles the money in our home.
Just making sure.
Yeah. But we do. First of all, we have an organization that works with inmates, so definitely we devote a certain portion of our money to that. And then you know how it is. In Africa, we're raised by a village, so you have to deal with, you have to raise the village. Now that you know you've made it, I'm one of those people where I'm the only lawyer in the clan, so, you know, when they hear that I work...
Any pro bono cases.
Exactly, you know, they hear that I work in a big farm, so council, tuyambe. I know when you say no, they say, council mkodo, so it's a bit... it's a bit difficult to say no, so we're always having...
Making it in life, you're forgetting us.
If only, when I grow up. But so we keep having this back and forth with my wife, how much, when do we stop? And then, I also got married. When I get a call, I rush out to help. And then I tell my wife, those days I would tell my wife, oh yeah, I guess so and so and so and so and so. And so she's like, Lenny! So now I'm learning. When I get the call, I share with my wife and say, okay, now we need to budget for this. Okay, now we need to budget for this one. And she's also now teaching me to say, no, you can't help everyone. Because there's always someone else getting married. There's always another need, someone else will need something else. So I'm learning now. She's helping me with that balance to make sure that, there's some left over to take care of us as a family.
Loyola, government etuyambe, it's a common notion. What's your take? Do you think government is there to make people rich? Is it to produce a conducive environment? Or is the cross line?
First of all, I think that is the most unfortunate defeatist phrase that we have.
English.
Okay, that is the saddest, probably one of the saddest phrases that we've come up with as a people, as Ugandans. I think it's just totally unnecessary. But I do not think the government owes us or owes you as an individual anything to the extent of helping you achieve financial success. However, I do think the government has an obligation, but it's just to a certain extent. I think that obligation is not necessarily to grant you financial success, but I think government's obligation is not to defeat your journey or your attempt at achieving financial success. I'll give an example. If I am a business person and I am rearing chicken, say I'm a poultry farmer, I raise my chicken and I'm able to sell them. Perhaps my farm is, no, let me switch up this example and go back to my roots. I'm a farmer, I grow Irish potatoes. Deep in a village in Chisoro, which is where I come from. Anybody in the house? Kajera. Yeah, we are many. Thank you. So if I grow, no, Pastor, but I'm Irish. So if I grow Irish potatoes in my village in Mutolere, and I am attempting to bring them, say, to an urban center, to borrow to Kampala to sell them, government's obligation is to the extent that my modes of transportation and infrastructure to reach a trading center and roads should not defeat my goal. If government provides the services that it's meant to, which is the reason we pay taxes, then it's not defeating me. Yeah, I will be able to put my Irish potatoes on a bus, bring them to Bar, bring them to Kampala, and sell them.
So basically, you're against the notion to a major extent.
Entirely, yes.
My final question is to Maria. Many businesses fail before their 5th birthday. As someone who has made it in business, would you encourage someone to start one? What principles would you give them?
Yes, I would. I would encourage someone to start a business. Statistics are statistics, and they are meant to be there. In life, we have a choice to either believe we are going to be part of the statistics, or to believe that we are not going to be part of the statistics. The author of Rich Dad Poor Dad has gone bankrupt. Yeah? He went bankrupt. I think some of you are aware of that. He went bankrupt, but even in going bankrupt, he's still starting again. So what I would tell someone who wants to start up a business, I'll tell him that preparation.
Wait. Right now, in 2017, is bankrupt.
No, not now. Pastor Jack just wants to shoot. So, I'll tell the person, preparation is very important. Know what you want to do. Research the market. Do your market survey adequately. Make sure you have enough, sufficient, I can't emphasize that enough, capital. If you've listened enough to the things that go around, most of Ugandan businesses fail because of capital. They are inadequately capitalized, and that is what causes them to fail. Someone prepares to start and they do not have money enough to take them through their break-even point. And so the business fails. Not that it was a bad idea, not that the person lacked passion, not that there was no need, but just because they didn't have sufficient capital.
Then some Christians don't handle their businesses in a Christian way. Which Christian values would you incorporate in a business? Would you want in a business? Or would you encourage people to do?
As a Christian, one of the things that we do as part of the businesses that I'm a part of is that we tithe. We tithe.
Christians, do your businesses tithe?
We tithe as a business, and we do our personal tithing as a family, separate from what we tithe as a business. The business does its own tithing, and I do our own tithing. If we feel that there is something that we can support, something, a good activity that can be supported, we'll support that. Why do we do that? It's because we consider the business an organism, a living thing that has an obligation to the God that we serve. And so on its own, it's independent of us. That is why it's also taxed on its own from the government, and we as individuals are also taxed on our own. And for me, it was so easy when I got into business, it was easy to be able to do this because the boss that I worked under previously, one time was leaving the country, and he literally handed me a whole kavera of money. And I asked him, what's this money for?
No temptation.
No, I wasn't tempted. I was just like, what's this money for? I was earning very little money at that point in time. I think my tithe at that point in time was like, I don't know, it was very little money. Now, he handed me a whole kavera. It was little money to me at that point in time that I had. It was very easy for me to take my tithe to church. Now, he handed me this whole kavera of money, and I asked him, what is this for? He was flying out of the country. He told me, take it to church tomorrow. It's like, it's this week's tithe. And for me, that sorted the rest of my life.
I see very many people who would be tempted.
No, God as my witness, I was not tempted. I was too overwhelmed. I just tied the kavera, and I was actually just too scared that in case someone stole it that night. Yeah, but I took it to church as I was directed. So for me, that sorted it out. I think God wanted to teach me a lesson early in life while I was owning nothing. So He taught me that lesson.
Thank you.
Oh,